You're watching the FARC Elite Series, powered by Smash Beer on OEN. Brought to you this week by Smash Beer, proud supporter of Pearson Sweeney Motorsports and FARC Racing. Smash Beer, the only beer with a better taste, coming back up. The final weekend of FARC Racing is upon us, the FARC Lone Star Championships at the Texas Motor Speedway. And it's already been a busy couple of days. Congratulations to Charles Gilbert, Justin Slade, and John Alexander, the FARC Regional Cup champions. And after tonight's 50-50 sprints, we will crown the FARC Lobo Truck Tour champion. It's come down to a fight between Jeremy Baker and Mike Howard. Here's the championship battle for the Elite Series. Ryan Matthews leads by 19 points over Jim Hayes. Hayes is the only title contender in this first 50-50 sprint. Jason Bates, 178 points back, could get himself into title contention if he wins his sprint and everybody else finishes last. All 5 title contenders will transfer to the final 500-miler tomorrow night, regardless of where they finish. And now here are the highlights of 50-50 sprint number 1, race 48. Todd Stater in the Green Racing 422 took the Marlisle pole, and he rockets into a huge lead over outside pole sitter Ralph West, who was just crowned the FARC Sport Modified champion in Dover, Delaware a couple weeks ago. But it only took a couple of corners for Ben Atkins and Ali Riggs to get together, which puts Aoi Mizushima and Kerry Eanes into the wall. Eanes would pull into the pits at the end of this first lap and drop out. But the caution didn't come out until lap 2, when Rachel Rainsford and Mo Lester got together and spun out right in front of traffic. Ben Atkins and Ali Riggs would continue their sloppy starts to this race as they both piled in. This is going to take Atkins and Rainsford out of the race, ending their seasons just a couple laps in. But coming back to the caution, Richard Scott gets turned by Mike Malone and is helped onto his roof by Kiki Hitsuno. Scary accident for Richard Scott as he does several rolls out of the quad oval and down into turn number 1. Car 27 finally comes to a rest on the apron, and Ali Riggs comes up on the accident scene and piles into the back of Bobby Stewart in the 49. But they wouldn't be done wrecking as the field slows down for the caution. Tommy Ashby, for some reason, swerves in front of the 01 of George Bryan. And hello, Jesus Chavez. He decides to join the party and take himself out of the race. There were only going to be 3 casualties from that initial incident, but thanks to this wreck coming back to the caution that was bigger than the initial wreck, we now have 9 out of the 40 starters. After the restart, Julia Ashcroft in one of the Messena cars moves up into the lead, but the Sergio Power cars of Rip Tyler and Bigsby Foot are going to push past her and then fight for the lead themselves, but now they face a challenge from Isaac Leitner in the 94 with the push from Leslie Riggs. Leitner is going to have the preferred line entering turn 1 and move into the lead. It's looking like a super speedway race amongst the front pack with all this shuffling. Jim Hayes started all the way back in 22nd, but now he charges into the lead, almost making contact with Leslie Riggs in doing so. Hayes and Tom Delgado Racing fell behind in the championship battle after he failed to transfer into the Salem feature, but now Hayes starts to pull away as they come up to lap the 90 of Ashley Tucker. Of course, Tucker is married to the owner of that 77 car, Tom Delgado's, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with her getting in the way of the rest of the field. However, Anthony Griffith is going to have a pretty easy time getting through the lapped cars as you see Leslie Riggs being held up by the 02 of Ash Bridges. Griffith closes right up on the 77. With 15 laps to go, several more cars get in the way. Griffith into the side of the 590 of Mark Thompson, but Griffith doesn't lift once, and he charges into the lead, searching for his 2nd win of the season, but Hayes is going to reel him back in. Leslie Riggs' car 64 lurks in 3rd. The top 3 have pretty much broken away from the rest of the field. Hayes almost ends his race, running into the back of the 619 of Mo Lester. Jim Hayes, despite slowly pulling away from the field, is still driving very aggressively, and as he comes up on Joel Rodriguez, he gets into the side of the 92, out of turn 4, he bounces off the wall and into the path of Anthony Griffith and Leslie Riggs, and that's your top 3 out of the race in one fell swoop, and a huge blow to Jim Hayes' championship effort. Joel Rodriguez gave him all the room in the world, but Hayes kept pushing up into him, and this is the end result. It looks like Riggs and Griffith didn't know where the 77 was going, but I have a feeling that this wouldn't have been the end of the world for Jim Hayes if they hadn't hit him. But nonetheless, Hayes will finish 29th and enter tomorrow night's race in an even bigger hole. However, we still have a few laps of racing left. Reed Bullitt in the 4th Sergio Power car took over the lead after the top 3 crashed out, but they weren't done wrecking at the back of the pack. Tanner Clayson bounces off the wall. Luke Ocean has nowhere to go, and he takes a couple of big hits from the inside wall, and Ryan Barrett in the 51. Luke Ocean and Tanner Clayson were in position to make the 500-miler, but now their seasons come to an end with just a couple laps to go. The 50-50 sprints do not go into overtime, so this means that Reed Bullitt will pace the field to the line and pick up his first FARC Elite Series victory. I think that Bullitt, who's easily been one of the most improved drivers over the past couple of years, was bound to end up in the winner's circle sooner or later, and that win finally comes at the end of the season. The other two Sergio Power cars in this race, Bigsby Foot and Rip Tyler, end up in the top 10 as well. Ralph West, the new Sport Mod champion, comes home with a great third-place finish in the Pearson Sweeney 33. Robert Lechleiter, the brother of Dan Lechleiter, in only his second start of the year, finishes a strong 9th. Mauro Adachi with the Troll and Lowly team finally qualified for a race this season, and he is rewarded with a 12th place finish. And Jim Hayes, who crashed out from the lead, will be back tomorrow night. He will be bumping out Laura Ocean, who finished in 20th.